Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the 47th induction ceremony of the Maine Sports Hall of Fame. Since the first induction took 3 years to become a reality, our organization is actually in its 50th year. We are the same age as Title IX, and this afternoon we are proud to be inducting 6 men and 6 women into what I think is the most prestigious sports organization in Maine. I'm Bill Green, the Executive Director of the Maine Sports Hall of Fame, and I want to thank our sponsors, including our prime sponsor, Central Maine Power, our lead sponsors, LeBlanc Metalsmithing and Yankee Ford, our major sponsors, LL Bean, the Margaret Burnham Charitable Trust, Shamrock Sports, Sunday River, and Senator Susan Collins, and our program sponsors, Midcoast Athletic Center, Norway Savings, and RBC Wealth Management. Could I have a round of applause for those sponsors? Because we need them. I also want to thank our board of directors. If you are on our board, would you please stand en masse and just receive a round of applause. So grateful for all that you do and all that you put together here. Board, stand. To me, these letters go together, and most people are going to think, what did he say? MSHOF has expanded its offerings in the last few years. With our partners at Masthead, Maine, we stage webinars on meaningful topics for Maine high school students statewide. Each of this year's inductees will be invited to be on our podcast, Maine Sports Hall of Fame, Legends with Bill Green, available on Apple and Spotify. We continue to award 5 $5,000 scholarships to the best of the best Maine high school student athletes. And this year we held a special weekend for our scholar athletes. Here to tell you more about our scholarship program is a former Colby College basketball star, who is Senior Commercial Banking Manager and Senior Vice President at Androscoggin Bank. She is Vice Chair of the Maine Sports Hall of Fame Board of Directors and the Chair of our Scholarship Committee. May I present Lisa Hook.
Thank you very much, Bill. Welcome, everybody. Yes, each year the Maine Sports Hall of Fame awards 5 $5,000 scholarships to the best Maine high school scholar athletes. This year we presented our inaugural scholarship in honor of former Maine Sports Hall of Fame President Dick Whitmore, who's actually here this afternoon and would like to recognize him now. Stand up, Whit. Our scholarship program is open to Maine high school seniors, and our committee this year, consisting of Michelle Martin, Marilee Perkins, Rachel Kaur, Tom Clifford, and Bill Green, we all spent more than a month paring down a most impressive group of applicants. The scholarships were presented at our first awards weekend, actually at Sunday River, and you'll be able to see a little bit of our weekend.
We normally think of Sunday River as a winter paradise, but as we learned, there's much going on there in summer. The Grand Summit Hotel hosted the inaugural Maine Sports Hall of Fame Awards weekend. Our scholarship winners, extraordinary students who are outstanding athletes, and their families gathered for a special get-together courtesy of Sunday River. At an informal gathering before dinner on Saturday night, Obama inauguration poet Richard Blanco spoke to the group, reading an excerpt from one of his poems talking about the importance of participation and how competitive and recreational sports bring a fullness to life. It was a great chance for the scholars to get to know each other as well. At Sunday brunch, this year's scholarships were presented. The winners were Emma Charles, a Nordic skier from Mount Blue, who is now at UNH. Sydney Gallup, a soccer player from Herman, now at St. Joe's. Thomas Horton of Bonnie Eagle, a football player now at UMaine. And Madeline Strauss, a volleyball player from Scarborough, now at Virginia. And Trevor Wozni, a soccer player and track athlete from Marshwood, who is now at Northeastern. Congratulations to this year's scholarship winners, and thank you once again to Sunday River for hosting this wonderful event.
That was a great recap of all our scholarship recipients. And actually, as we think to the year ahead, we will open up the application process for the 2023 class on January 1st of this year. So if you do know of a high school senior who has excelled in athletics, academics, and community involvement, please let them know that the application can be found on our website on MSHOF.com. and would welcome their application. So thank you for that. And now it's my pleasure to introduce the chair of our board, Brian Corcoran, who is the Chief Engagement Officer of Shamrock Sports, and he's going to give a special presentation for us.
Thanks, Lisa. How is everybody today? Great, welcome. Our Partner in Purpose Award is something that really has, I think at this point in time in our lives, redefined the mission of the Maine Sports Hall of Fame. At this point in time of the year, we get to reflect upon those that have made a difference to make a better Maine through sport. In this case, we look no further than Sunday River. They do that at so many levels as this year's honor as our Partner in Purpose. If it's not enough that they hosted our Scholar Athlete get-together, they're there with Dana Bolin and the team, providing so many community resources, such as the opportunity to host regional kids that grew up in the area that don't have the opportunity and the means to provide access to the mountain on so many levels. For kids K through 12, MSAD 17, SAD 44, RSU 10, and so forth. The opportunity for Sunday River Ski and Snowboard Club to pay it forward. And certainly these contributions, if they're not enough, they benefit a wide range of activities and organizations such as Ripple Effect, who also provides winter programming at a time of need to those across the state and across the region. At this time, I would like the opportunity to welcome Darcy Lambert, VP of Human Resources at Sunday River, to accept this award. Darcy?
Hi, everyone. Are we ready for ski season? I certainly am. Thank you very much for that introduction. I want to start off by saying great partners make for great partnerships. Sunday River is fortunate to work with a number of organizations who help us build better community through sports. Our partnerships with Maine Adaptive and our work with the area schools, we're incredibly lucky to be an industry that promotes the pursuit of lifelong sport. On behalf of Sunday River, we sincerely thank you for this recognition and congratulations to all of today's awardees. Thank you.
I will. My first mental mistake. My wife's here. She's going to either love this or hate this. The award, the Partner in Purpose Award, is downstairs. And that's on me. All right. Let's induct some people. Diana Walker, come on over. There you are. I want you to stand right here. Would you get her trophy? Not yet, not yet. We got to talk about her for a second. Diana Walker is someone whose life was greatly impacted by Title IX. She was a fine athlete, finishing 4th in the state in the 50 and competing on a championship 4x100 relay team. In basketball, after her junior year, everybody went home. After her senior year, they went to the first ever girls tournament. She's here today because of her remarkable record as a field hockey coach, a sport that burgeoned right after Title IX. In 1983, Diana Walker took a teaching job at Sanford, and because she had some experience as a coach, became the head coach of the field hockey team, a position she would hold for 39 years. Down through the years, she touched so many lives, building a program to where it became a dominant force in her division. Her career is highlighted by a remarkable run that began in 1998. Her teams got to the Western Maine Finals and lost a heartbreaker. Then, from 1991 to 2001, they won 50 in a row, taking back-to-back state championships before losing again in the Western Maine Finals. That run attracted national attention and even earned Diana a spot in Sports Illustrated's Faces in the Crowd. Beloved by her players and her community, Diana was named Southern Maine Athletic Association Coach of the Year in 2000, 2002, and 2005. She was named Regional Field Hockey Coach of the Year in 2001 and received Exemplary Professional Award on National Girls and Women's in Sports Day. She has coached a variety of other teams and served for 8 years on the Northeast Region All-American Selection Committee and chaired it for 3. For her contributions as a pioneer, player, coach, and administrator, the Maine Sports Hall of Fame is proud to induct Diana Walker. Somewhere out there, there's a photographer.
Thank you. First, I would like to thank the Maine Sports Hall of Fame for hosting this event. I would also like to congratulate all of the other inductees and commend them on their outstanding careers and accomplishments. Personally, I would like to thank my family, starting with my dad, Richard Grant, who was inducted into the Maine Baseball Hall of Fame. He was always there after work to support me throughout my playing and coaching career. My husband, Steve, he was also a high school coach and officiated field hockey. My 2 daughters, Jennifer and Stephanie, were both 3-sport athletes and involved with travel and select teams. We had to do a lot of give and take between cars, meals, practices, and games. Time management was something that we all became very proficient at. I'd also like to thank all of my coaches that I had since grade school. Every single one of them played a part in the type of philosophy that I practiced while I coached. I think the most influential coach I had was my college lacrosse coach, Janet Nell. She instilled the most positive attitude, worked us hard, but let us have fun at the same time. And her motto was always, all for one and one for all. Lastly, I would like to thank the hundreds of girls that I coached the past 43 years. We went through some amazing changes, including Title IX, which gave all of you so many more opportunities to compete. Some of you are now retired, some of you are officials, some of you are coaches, and some of you are still playing in high school or in college. Would I do this again? You bet I would. Teaching and coaching kids was the best job. Thank you, Bill Green. Thank you, Maine Sports Hall of Fame.
I'm going to ask Ron Cody to come up to the podium, please. In this age of specialization, we now honor a good old-fashioned, all-around athlete. Ron Cody has always been a 3-sport guy. He played 3 sports in high school, 2 for a while in college, and coached 3 sports for most of a coaching career that is now close to 50 years and counting. Let's take a look.
Ron Cody was simply a great all-round athlete. At St. Louis High School in Biddeford, he earned 10 varsity letters in football, basketball, and baseball. He was twice All-State in football, All-State in basketball, and All-Conference in baseball. Ron went on to Maine, where he was the Black Bears' primary quarterback for 3 seasons. And most importantly, while in college, he married his high school sweetheart, Claire. Right after school, Ron started coaching, first in Old Town, then back home in Biddeford. He was offensive coordinator for the great Mike Landry teams, which won 5 state championships. Ron and Claire's son, Chris, played quarterback during that run and was named All-State. Their daughter, Jen, cheered competitively, and continues in the sport as a judge at the state level. Ron was varsity basketball coach for 12 years at Biddeford, leading the Tigers to 8 tournaments and the Western Maine title in '91. He also developed a strong Biddeford baseball program, which also contended and broke through for a state title in 1984. He went on to coach UNE for 6 seasons and has mostly coached as an assistant for the past 20 years. Ron has won 7 Coach of the Year awards, has awards and facilities named in his honor, and his family just continues to grow. We are proud to welcome him to our family, a man whose name is synonymous with Biddeford athletics. Ron Cody, you're in the Maine Sports Hall of Fame.
Thank you, Lisa. I didn't really recognize that married couple in the video. That was 51 years ago. First of all, I'd like to congratulate all the inductees, and for me to be recognized with these talented people and be a member of the Maine Sports Hall of Fame is special. Thank you to the Maine Sports Hall of Fame Committee for this honor. I feel truly humbled to be given this recognition and accept it on behalf of all who have influenced me in my career. I want to thank Skip Robinson, who is my son-in-law's father, for nominating me to the Hall of Fame committee. Skip was inducted in the Maine Sports Hall of Fame as a bodybuilder in 2013, and he is certainly an icon in bodybuilding. My career started with my parents, who taught me the value of discipline, respect, and hard work, and I tried to carry that philosophy with me throughout my life. As an athlete, I'd like to thank all my teammates, all my coaches I played high school and in prep school with. They all had an impact in my life, but especially my high school football coach, the late Bob Cody, no relation, a Hall of Fame coach himself, who was a great role model. And it was because of him that I decided that I wanted to be a teacher and a coach. I'd like to recognize my teammates and my college coaches at the University of Maine who played a role in my career. Skip Chappelle in basketball, Walt Abbott in football, both legends in the state of Maine. As a coach, I'd like to thank all the coaches I've worked closely with over the years in high school and at the University of New England. But the most influential coaching mentor I've had is the legendary Hall of Fame basketball coach and close friend, Coach Bob Brown. There are not enough words to express my gratitude to Coach Brown for all his knowledge he has shared with me over the years. He definitely made me a better coach. I want to thank all the athletes I've coached for their dedication, their hard work, and respect. You're the main reason why I'm standing here today. I was fortunate to coach 2 nieces in girls basketball, 2 nephews, one in basketball, one in football and baseball, and my granddaughter in 7th grade basketball. I had the pleasure of coaching my son Chris in football, basketball, and baseball, and I'm proud to have watched my daughter Jen compete in cheerleading competitions. Those are all everlasting memories. But most of all, a big thank you to my wife, Claire, of 51 years, who was totally committed to my coaching career. Without her as my best friend and my partner, my career would not have been the same. Something Skip Robinson and myself are very proud of as of today. 2 of our grandchildren have 2 grandfathers in the Maine Sports Hall of Fame. In closing, I want to thank my sisters, my relatives, former players, and my friends who came here today to join me in this celebration. Thank you very much.
We all face challenges in our lives, and how we deal with those challenges demonstrates our character and who we are. Christy Gardner was given a challenge that most could not handle, and she has embraced it with grace and strength that have earned her the admiration of everyone who knows her.
Christy Gardner was a three-sport athlete at Edward Little and went on to Long Island University, where she played field hockey and lacrosse. After earning a BFA in photography, she joined the Army and was serving in Korea when a catastrophic accident took both her legs. She was down, but not out. Athletics led her out of the depths of despair and into the rarefied air of international competition. She soon developed into a world-class sledge hockey player, being on the U.S. national team for 10 years. It has won the equivalent of 3 world championships, most recently this year. In fact, Christy was instrumental in staging a U.S. national training camp at Norway Savings Arena in Lewiston this June. Christy also excels in throwing events in track and field. She holds U.S. records in the shot and the javelin. And while Christy has been described as dogged, she has been supported by dogs. Her special friend Moxie helped her recovery, and she currently trains service dogs for others. She is an inspiration to all of us, and for displaying gallantry against difficult odds, we are proud to welcome Christy Gardner to the Maine Sports Hall of Fame.
I apologize. I did write my speech, but I printed it and left it on the printer at home. So I'd like to congratulate all the honorees here tonight and thank the Maine Sports Hall of Fame for giving us this honor. As far as I know, so unfortunately with my brain injury, I don't actually remember growing up or playing sports or being coached. And other injuries that you probably can't see, I'm missing a few fingers, obviously the legs, and a few organs to go with that. But as far as I know, I was an athlete all of my life. I played sports through high school, I played sports through college. When I was injured overseas in 2006, I was told to use my wheelchair and sit on the couch and be thankful that I wasn't a quadriplegic. While I am thankful, I was definitely not satisfied with to be destined to sit on the couch for the rest of my life. I started playing sled hockey at a clinic that the VA offered in 2010, and I've now been on the national team for 12 years. We've beaten Canada every single Worlds that we've had. So. And I was also an alternate this past summer games for the Tokyo Games for shot put and discus. I do have the American record, as I said, in shot put and javelin, but I compete in the wheelchair class, so it's a seated upper body throw, and I throw now as far as I did back when I was in school. Douglas, did you lose me? So unfortunately, Moxie passed away back in March, so Doug took over. So he's trying his hardest. But I would like to thank everyone that's believed in me through all my rehab and everything that I've been through with all the surgeries. Yes, Douglas would like to give a speech. Yes, you're a good boy. Especially my parents and those that have kept the rest of my life on track and been there at the drop of a hat, whether I have to have another surgery or I get called away on a training camp. Hey, tomorrow you're going to get on the plane. And they have to go and take care of the dogs and take care of the foundation for me. So again, thank you to my family and my teammates and everyone that's believed in me on the way.
Is Peter Watton here? Just some athletes are instinctive, you know. Where is he? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, apparently not me either. Okay. When Rod Watton passed away on November 24th, a reporter called me and said, "Is Rod Watton in the Maine Sports Hall of Fame?" And I said, "Of course he is." And I looked him up. He wasn't. The person who has the most football coaching victories in New England history and the most Maine championships was not in the Maine Sports Hall of Fame. So today, we correct that. Rod Watton retired as the winningest football coach in New England history, and he turned those wins into championships. He was a three-sport athlete in Rochester, New Hampshire, and went on to UNH where he also played baseball. He started as an assistant coach at South Berwick High, and that team won a title. He became the head coach the next year and was at the helm when South Berwick merged into Marshwood in 1966. The Hawks won that state title, the first of 20 for Rod as a head coach. 16 of those titles came at Marshwood, the most by any coach in Maine. After becoming an assistant at UNH for a couple of seasons, Rod moved on to St. Thomas Aquinas, where the Saints had lost 15 straight. They were in the state championship his second season and would win the next 3 titles and another one in 2006. Rod's career record was 342, 81, and 3, the most wins ever by a New England high school coach, and we are honored to induct the great Rod Watton to the Maine Sports Hall of Fame. I want to say how proud Rod was of his family, his wife Norma, and their children Peter, Jeffrey, and Wendy, and all their spouses and children are here. All of the grandchildren are here except one who's in Florida, and all the grandchildren have spouses and fiancés. They are here as well. It's a great family gathering. Excepting for the Watton family is Rod and Norma's son, Peter Watton.
Good afternoon. Before I start, Christy, thank you for your service. Yep. My name's Peter Watton. I'm the eldest son of Rod Watton. I drew the short straw, and I'm here before you today. I'm up here also because my mom told me I had to. And in a tux, no less. First and foremost, I want to say thank you to the selection committee on behalf of our family for my dad's induction in the Maine Sports Hall of Fame. I'd like to recognize my sister Wendy and her husband Tom, my brother Jeff and his wife Cheryl, my wife Kathy, my dad's brother Bruce, all our children and my dad and mom's grandchildren. Some granddogs would be here today, but they weren't allowed in the place. We're a family who loves animals. Finally, I'd like to recognize my mother, Norma Watton, my dad's best friend for 68 years. Secondly, I'd like to take the opportunity to congratulate the other inductees and their families who are here today for all your hard work and everything you've given to your trade. Finally, I'd like to thank publicly Marshwood High School and the communities of Elliott and South Berwick for including my dad and our families in their community for so long, and to this day. Those Maine communities are pretty special. And our dad sure helped the Hawks win state titles. He helped the school win game after game. He has been honored time and again, too many to list, in newspapers, and by a variety of halls of fame and various associations. He's had articles written about him. He's had pictures taken of him. He's been glorified and nearly sanctified for his time as a football coach. But what our dad, husband, grandfather, and brother did best was to form relationships. He was real good at that. If anyone comes up with a Hall of Fame for that, he'll be a first ballot inductee. The building of relationships is how Rod Watton became such a successful coach and teacher. That's what got him recognized and what made him so special. That's why you're here today, to honor him and induct him into the Maine Sports Hall of Fame. Thank you for your time today and for this recognition. God bless you. God bless Rod Watton.
Please look in the back of the program book for the list of Maine Sports Hall of Famers. If you know of someone who deserves the honor but is not there, as my sister did about 5 years ago and got as a great inductee, please submit an application that can be found on our website at MSHOF.com. yeah, this is actually another mental mistake, but we're going to cover it here. All right, Lori McPherson, where are you? Come on down. I want you right over there. When Lori MSHOF McPherson started cheering, it was an activity. It was gaining momentum nationally as competitive sport, and Lori loved it. After her career as a cheerleader, she became a coach and helped lead the sport into a new status, that of a competitive varsity sport. And for 25 years, she has run the Maine Stars Cheer Gym, one of the top tumbling and gymnastic gyms in the Northeast. As a kid, Lori just liked to cheer, and the sport was growing up around her. She cheered for those great Rod Watton teams during the glory days at Marshwood and at USM, where it was just plain fun. She went home to coach the Hawks cheerleaders and was helping to lead the competitive cheer movement in Maine. Competitions are extremely intense, and they pack the buildings wherever championships are held. Marshwood won the B title in 90, was second in 91, won 3 in a row, and finished second in 95. They moved up to A and won the 2001 title as well. Lori bought an old building and built Maine Stars, a gym now known nationally for cheering and tumbling. It is the only Maine gym to ever reach the podium at Worlds, which are held at the ESPN Wide World of Sports Center in Orlando. She has helped produce hundreds of high school cheerleaders and thousands of happy, competitive, talented athletes. For her impact on the sport of cheerleading, the Maine Sports Hall of Fame welcomes Lori MSHOF McPherson. All right, the microphone is yours.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm extremely humbled to be standing here among all the distinguished inductees present this afternoon. I'm also grateful to Rachel Kaur for nominating me and to the Board of Directors who chose me to become a new member of the Maine Sports Hall of Fame. I'm not one to talk about myself, but Rachel convinced me that if chosen, it would be a victory for the sport of cheerleading. She was right. I am honored to share my story, but I will say that I'm going to paraphrase it because I'm over the 3 minutes. So I'm going to ask my daughter to post parts of it online because I didn't get here alone, and I want to give recognition to the story the way that it should be. But before I do, I have to pay tribute to the late, great Mr. Rod Watton, Marshwood coach, football extraordinaire. I cheered for many of his state champion football teams. And then, when I became a cheer coach, I learned so much from him and his incredible success. He was an inspiration. Being a member of the same class of Hall of Famers with him is an honor for me. Thank you, Mr. Watton. You had a profound impact on me and the young men of our communities. To the Watton family present here today, please know that he will never be forgotten. And now for me. There are chapters, and there's a beginning, a middle, and an end. It started early. I was 3. I took dance classes, and then in 4th grade, cheered for the Braves, the local football team, and then cheer life began. I attended the Marshwood School District, graduated from there, cheered all through elementary, junior high, and high school, and then went to the University of Southern Maine. In '86, I graduated from USM and returned to Marshwood as a 5th grade teacher. I was proudly once again a Hawk. It wasn't long before the opportunity to coach cheerleading at Marshwood became available. Since teaching and coaching are synonymous, and because I love working with kids of all ages, I was thrilled to embark on this new and exciting opportunity. Chapter 2, evolution. Bill mentioned it. The Maine Principals Association voted to recognize competitive cheer as a sport during the winter sports season, and that's all I needed. Off to cheerleading camp at Husson College in Bangor, Maine, still headed by my longtime friend Tammy Campbell, and I gained valuable knowledge about how to coach and create a winning program, propelling me headfirst into competitive cheer. I was driven to shape it into something more I knew that I needed to make the kids believe, but I also hoped that together we would change the stereotype that had surrounded traditional cheerleading for years. It became my goal to prove that it wasn't all fluff and rah-rah. I coached them to work tirelessly and make their efforts count, to respect their peers no matter what sport they participated in, and if success came our way, we would accept it humbly. I shared my passion for cheer with them, and they knew I believed they would one day be champions. My athletes were disciplined, confident, and amazing teammates. I also made believers out of their parents, and their support for the cheer program was incredible. We had the ingredients for a winning recipe, and success did follow. As Bill mentioned, my Marshwood athletes surpassed many regional, conference, and 5 state titles, 4 in Class B and 1 in Class A. My cheer life is so full of many wonderful memories. These young ladies from Marshwood have my deepest admiration for all they did to achieve their greatness. I am so proud of those Marshwood cheer years. Those young women, all the ones from Marshwood, were the foundation of what came next. All-Star. While coaching at Marshwood, yes, All-Star was taking root, and I tried with a few recreational cheer teams, Seacoast Sparklers and Maine Stars, and then in 2001 found a commercial building in Elliott with a former cheerleader of mine, Rebecca, and Maine Stars cheer gym was born. Yes, 1,000 plus athletes from so many communities and the neighboring states of Maine and New Hampshire and Massachusetts. It was a new level of competitive cheer. Kids from nearby Dover, New Hampshire, and as far away as Lewiston and Jay, Maine, made and still make the trip to Maine Stars to train and cheer competitively throughout New England. Maine Stars athletes become amazing tumblers, dancers, stunters, and performers. They put on a show, jam-packed with athleticism, pride, and a collective passion for the sport they love so much. They have a mere 2.5 minutes to prove they are better than their competitors. Honestly, I'm amazed at how easy they make it look. With numerous state national titles, 4 summit championships, and the first ever Silver Globe at the World Cheerleading Championships, I am proud to say that Maine Stars is a respected cheer gym across the cheer industry, and we did it together. And I also, it was in the video, I'm so proud that my kids learned to give back. At Marshwood, my dear friend, Coach Sybil Coombs, created Cheers from the Heart, and my Marshwood girls participated and hosted it for years. And then, when Maine Stars began, we support yearly St. Jude. And 2 of my athletes, Destiny and Sophie, and I traveled to Tennessee and got to see St. Jude in person, and it had a profound effect on all of us. So chapter 4 is all the thank yous, and I'm probably over 3 minutes. So I'm gonna ask my daughter to post them all on Facebook. And I will say thank you to everyone. You were part of this journey, and I could not have done it without you. But I do have to mention a few. To my children, Matthew and Mallory, thank you for journeying with me through the years and for being my biggest supporters. I am so blessed to have you here today. I love you more than words can express. And Mallory, thank you for being my rock and keeping me calm at competitions. To my mom, my 2 brothers, Mike and Mark, my niece Morgan, her husband Mark, and Allie, thank you for your unending belief and love for me. Without you, I couldn't have done any of it. Every day spent with you is a blessing. To the McPherson family, Shelly, John, and Kayla, and all my nieces and nephews, what we share now and what we've shared in the past is the most precious gift to me. You're family forever, and I love you all. To my dad, who sadly passed away nearly 6 years ago and was a big fan of Mr. Watton, this one is for you. All that I have become is because of the amazing examples you set for me. I miss you every day. Thank you for being my biggest cheerleader since the day I was born. And you are here in spirit, 143 forever. And so that's chapter 4. Like I said, the full speech will be online for all the people who made this possible for me, is the end for now. At Maine Stars, I have coined a saying that every athlete says before they leave practice. So today, I declare that I am indeed grateful for today. Thank you again, everyone, and it will always be we, not me, until the day I hang up my pom-poms for good. Thank you.
Ed Feifel, I'd like to call you up to the podium, please. Or Hank Feifel, Hank.
Call me Luke sometimes.
Luke,
I have
no,
a twin brother.
no.
I have a twin brother, that's why.
All right, you step right over here, right by your big trophy. We're gonna roast you here first. Not really roast, but. Well, many inductees are simply great athletes who settled on a sport, and Hank Feifel certainly fits that description. He started as a skier, became a national class runner, and then a world-class age group cyclist. And he joked with Bill just the other day that he's hanging on. So let's take a look.
Hank Feifel's family owned the Sugarloaf Inn, so he literally grew up on Maine's Big Mountain and would go on to ski at UVM, where he also took up cross-country running and soon became prominent. He graduated into the 70s running boom. Now, he could have won just about every race in Maine, but he chose to take on tougher competition. He ran 7 marathons in 2:21 or less, his best being a 2:16:27 run at the Tenneco Marathon in Houston. At the age of 40, he jumped on a bicycle and started another Hall of Fame-worthy career. He quickly progressed to a Category 1 ranking, the highest possible among amateurs. He won an age group world title at 47 and national age group titles at 61 and 65. He was on the podium 7 times at Masters National Championships. He had numerous victories in the Northeast. Hank is sport director of Down East Racing, a strong amateur racing team which puts on such events as the Cascadia Super Gravel, which supports the Independence Association that supports individuals with intellectual disabilities and autism. For helping to create a better Maine through sport, the Maine Sports Hall of Fame proudly welcomes Hank Feifel.
Thank you all for coming. I'm pretty excited to be here. Thank you to the committee, and congratulations to all you guys up here. So a little story to tell you. A while back, about 10 years ago, a bunch of us went over to tour the hill towns in central Mass, and it's a hilly race. And we warmed up, and then we were called to the start. And so I lined up next to this guy, never seen him before, didn't know him, and he says, "Oh, no, you're here." I said, I thought he was a nice guy. And then he says, no, it's just that every time you show up, you make us hurt. And so, thinking about it, I said, it was probably one of the best compliments I ever received. So I was wondering, when we got selected here, how did I go from being Hank to Hammerin' Hank to Hank the Crank to the Hankinator? And worthy of standing here, well, here are 3 steps that led to my success. Step 1, stumble upon someone who cares enough about you to kick your butt when you are too stupid to see the obvious. And in my case, it was Perry Bland. You out there, Perry? Yeah. So Perry was captain of the UVM ski team when I got there, and somehow we became best friends and skied and raced a ton together. And then in the summer, we continued our training and had many great runs in the woods. Skiing, he beat me, and running, well, I think he saw something in me that I didn't see. At the end of each summer, Perry would, also being the captain of the fall cross-country team, always asked me to go out for cross-country. So after sophomore year, Hank, go out for cross-country ski. After sophomore summer, he'd say, Hank, you should go out for cross-country. I said, nah, I don't want to do that. So next year goes around, end of junior year, Hank, you should go out for cross country. And so this time I thought, no, that was after junior year, yeah. Anyway, right before my senior year, he said, do it again, and I finally paid attention, and I gave it a try, and went from like walk-on to actually MVP by the end of the year. So I think Perry was on to something, and without him, I would definitely not have gotten my started. So sometimes you need guys to get you on the right track. And so like the coaches up here have done to many people, Perry did to me. Step 2, stumble upon guys who are pros and listen to what they have to say. The first pro I came upon was Jim Crawford while I was down in Texas for a couple of years after college. He was a 356 miler who ran the world circuit. He was a contemporary of Jim Ryan, and he was unbelievable. And he ran the world pro circuit for the Army. So he taught me how the pros trained, and that it was important to have every workout to have purpose. And then when I transitioned to cycling, it was guys like Brad Kephart, Al Van Noy, Steve Wright, Steve Smith, former pros and experienced all, who greeted me at Nike when I showed up to ride with them in my sneakers and baggy t-shirt. And listen and suffer I did, and I grew strong and soon adopted their mantra of team and podium or nothing. And then step 3 is training with athletes that have similar ambitions and learn and grow with them. And for me, it was running with Steve Agoni, Sammy Pelletier, who I believe is out there, and Andy Palmer, Ken Flanders, and a host of others who we chased, and a host of others as we chased the dream of victory against the very best during the running boom of the 70s and 80s. So in summary, I would say success lies within all of us, but it takes an association with welcoming people, positive people, people secure enough with themselves to willingly impart all their knowledge to you, and your success is their success. Hanging with those guys, that's how I got up here. And one more thing, they say if you want to feel the earth shake beneath your feet, you need to go to California. But for me, all I have to do is look out at my wife, Beth, and my world gets rocked.
Adrian Scheibels, come on down. I hope she's not going to post me up today. Adrian Scheibels is a builder. She has thrice taken programs and built them up and sustained the new level after doing so each time. Her 12 seasons at Bowdoin were incredible. She is the winningest women's basketball coach in Bowdoin history, this after starting out at Mount View High School and building herself into an outstanding basketball player.
Adrian Scheibels played her high school ball at Mount View and Thorndike. She went to Bates, where she was a 2-year captain and a 1,000-point scorer. Graduate school was at Smith, where she worked as an assistant coach at the Elms College and actually became head coach for a few games. Next, Swarthmore hired her after her 7-17 season. 4 years later, the Garnet won 23 games and the Centennial Conference Championship. She won 95 games in the next 5 years. After moving her family back to Maine and working in athletic administration at Gould, she got the call from Bowdoin. The Bears were good and didn't miss a beat. Bowdoin won 281 and 67 and made 8 Sweet 16s, including 4 of her last 5 seasons. They twice went to the NCAA title game and lost, and arguably her best team was 27-2 before COVID stopped it when their Sweet 16 opponents were in the Bowdoin gym. She was Maine Coach of the Year 4 times, Regional Coach 3 times, NESCAC Coach twice, and National Coach of the Year once. She is starting at the bottom at Dartmouth, a great program, and it's going to be fun to watch them climb. We know they will, under the direction of one of Maine's greatest ever coaches, Adrian Scheibels.
Thank you so much. That was a really nice video. I'm so excited to be back in the great state of Maine. Woo! Yes. Congrats to all the other inductees. It's just quite an honor to be up here on the stage. So I'm going to start with a story too, like Hank. It was March 2019. This was just alluded to in the video, but our Bowdoin team had just suffered defeat in the national championship game for the 2nd consecutive year. Sitting together in the locker room, I tried to find the right words to convey my pride for their effort, character, and their togetherness. In the grief-stricken silence that followed, South Portland native Maddie Hassan spoke. Maddie said, "Fearlessness is losing in devastating fashion last year and then collectively choosing to do everything in our power to get back to the Final Four again, knowing it could bring the same intense heartbreak." In that moment, I was filled with nothing but gratitude for the people in the room, but also for the game of basketball and the lessons that it imparts. I think of Maddie's words often. I have found inspiration in them, and they truly captured the beauty of that moment. But I am uncertain about the concept of fearlessness. Does it exist? Nelson Mandela said, "Courage is not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it." And I think his words reflect the reality that fear is part of the human experience, but it's our willingness to go bravely forward that defines us. I've spent a lifetime making what some might deem unconventional decisions regarding career. Each and every move was fear-provoking, and there have been intense moments of doubt. However, my experience as an athlete and a coach have given me courage to pursue change and risk failure as a means to growth, and for this, I am grateful. The young girl from Knox, Maine could not have imagined a future me capable and confident enough to risk constant public scrutiny, judgment, and failure. My message today is one of gratitude for Dharma and purpose, for all that the game has provided, and for the people that I have journeyed alongside. Thank you so much to all the women I've been blessed to coach. They taught me more than I could ever teach them, and their loyalty and trust have been the greatest gifts. Thanks to the brilliant staff that I have battled alongside through the years and who have held me accountable to continued growth on and off the court. A special shout out to Bowdoin colleagues Megan Phelps and Steve Shea. Thanks to my mentors and coaches through the years, including Coach Whitmore, who was here earlier today. Coach Whit gave me my first paid assistant position at Colby in 1993. I earned a whopping $2,000, but I should have paid Colby for the opportunity to study a legendary coach and administrator. Thanks to my parents and grandparents, my parents are here today. They taught me so many important lessons necessary to navigate life. Growing up on a dairy farm in rural Maine was hard work, but I would not trade a minute. An enormous thank you to my family, Kirk, Maddie, and Elsa. Our youngest daughter, Elsa, is at Bates basketball practice right now, while Maddie's spending her Sunday studying at Swarthmore. Our daughters have supported my pursuit of purpose and understood my occasional absence at their own games or events. They sacrificed so that I might chase excellence, and I am thrilled that they are doing the same. And to my husband, Kirk, my rock, who understands my passion and is willing to enthusiastically support it. He was the one who was there when the bus delivered our girls home each day. He made the meals, and he drove them to practice. I am forever blessed to have met this giant personality from Northeast Philly, and I dedicate this honor to Kirk. Thank you again to all the inductees. Congratulations, and thank you.
Mikey LeBlanc, come on down. How are you? All right. When I first read Mike LeBlanc's incredible resume, I couldn't believe it. So I called a friend of mine named Scotty Lago, a New Hampshire guy who won an Olympic bronze medal in the half pipe. And this is true. I said, "Scotty, have you ever heard of a guy named Mikey LeBlanc?" And he paused a second and said, "You're never going to believe this. I'm standing on a glacier in Alaska, and he just jumped over my head." Few make an impact on their sport as Mike has. It's an overused word, but this man is truly a legend in snowboarding. Mikey LeBlanc is an icon in the sport of snowboarding, a sport he took up as a kid in Topsom, where he graduated from Mount Ararat High School. He then moved out west, where he changed his sport forever. He pioneered jibbing, which is riding on non-snow objects such as handrails in urban settings. This style is now seen in terrain parks all over the world. His high-flying jumps and crazy stunts have been featured in a number of best-selling videos such as Destroyer and Brainstorm. Mike went on to produce and star in his own videos, including cult classics Love Hate and Burning Bridges. He was a global top 10 rider so many times that he was featured as a character in the launch edition of the Xbox snowboarding game. And he's also in 2 other video games as well. He was named a mountain goat, greatest of all time, by Snowboarder magazine. Pro Riders voted him Standout Rider of the Year. He was sought out by more than a dozen brands to wear their clothing. Mike eventually decided to start his own snowboard wear company, and Holden Outerwear hit right on the button, and now most outdoor brands feature styles influenced by Mikey. For his indelible mark on the sport of snowboarding, the Maine Sports Hall of Fame is proud to induct Mike LeBlanc. The microphone is yours, sir.
Thank you, sir. I have an awesome picture of my brother with Bill when he was a hockey player. It's one of my favorite photos of him. 1984. I wanted to start by thanking the Maine State Hall of Fame and Bill, and congrats to all the inductees. It's really amazing. I mean, when I'm sitting on stage thinking of here, like, every life has a direction you can take, and the commitment that everybody up here and likely everybody out there has made to something is, I was fortunate enough to be on a podcast that was a long form a couple months ago. And what struck me is, everyone has a crazy story. So I guess I'm here to tell you a little bit about mine. Snowboarding is interesting. It can be a sport. It can be X Games. It can be competitions. But I never really competed. It was really a commitment to lifestyle for me. It started in skateboarding. One of the very first people three of the very first people I skateboarded with are here. My brothers Matt and Steve and Rick Lloyd. The interesting thing about skateboarding and what led me to other parts of my career, it led me to snowboarding, but also fashion and things like that. And Rick was definitely the most fashionable person in high school, no doubt. So my family is here tonight. I really want to, shout them out. Joanne, Joe, my parents, Matthew and Steve. Also a ton of extended family and friends. I think that's probably the funnest part about this award is getting to see people I haven't seen for 20 years come up and just say hi and celebrate. I really am forever grateful to my mom and dad and brothers and family and friends. It's just without them and, as my co-conspirators kind of getting me up at 3 in the morning to go to hockey practice, or, my brother showing me how it is to work hard he was an excellent athlete as well, and he was out there in the yard practicing from dawn till dusk playing soccer. And my little brother, for his heart, just how he showed up to sports. He was the kid out there running around, and you can just see the love of the sport beaming. So it was, learning those wonderful things from family. So a little bit, I kind of wanted to hit on some of the main points of things that really worked for me, and that I think are the keys to my athleticism. And one is, it's an obvious one, but in a sport like snowboarding where, team is important, but you don't have a coach. You have a shared love and a passion, and you show up and you meet those people. I moved from Maine to Colorado at first, and you just meet these communities and you see the spark in their eyes, and you drive each other together. In my case, it was a bunch of 18 to 25-year-olds having a hell of a good time, partying a lot, and also snowboarding every day. And it was just not having that coach, but I was of course falling back on some of my early mentorships. So that's one thing I really want to hit on is my early mentorships in sport. Could have been hockey or lacrosse, family, but also I had a few that were really special. There was a guy named Chip Corgone that showed up, and it was a tough period in my life, but I think having that long-term family or that coach, but having a mentor that can show up and just show you their heart for 30 seconds can be just as impactful A couple times I spent with Chip were like that for me, and it was just, you know, a 30-second conversation that told me to chase my dreams and believe in myself. And, you know, we probably spent a total of 5 hours, but I just want to remind myself, but also all of you, that 30 seconds can make a lifetime of difference. The other thing I want to hit on, and this is my secret trick to, I'm almost 50 and I feel pretty good. I feel like food is the #1 workout technique, and my trick is just don't keep any crappy food in the house. You're always too lazy to go get more. So, all right, I'm gonna finish on this one. It's kind of the reason why I think I love snowboarding. I was trying to boil it down to what I actually loved about the actual act of snowboarding. You know, all the thank yous out of the way. What I love is you're standing up there, you're strapped in, you have no idea if you can do this. The wind might be blowing, you're doing something crazy, and you just have to commit 100%. Like, I jokingly say, but it's true, 50-50 chance if this is gonna happen for me or not. It's probably less. But really just get up there, strap in, visualize it, clear your mind, and send it. And I feel like that's something I try to put into my life with family and friends. And really, you know, you might have a conversation or whatever. I might have a tough conversation. It's just about like dropping in and committing 100%. So that's what I'd like to share, and I want to thank you all. Love you all very much.
We're next going to induct Emily Karras Snyder into the hall, and I'd like to ask her father, Matt Karras, to come up. It is, okay, deep breath. It is sometimes beyond understanding when an athlete dies young. Emily Karras Snyder was a beloved daughter, wife, and mother, a highly accomplished student, and a remarkable athlete. Today, we pause to celebrate the life of a woman who has left us all too soon. Let's take a look.
From the day that she was born, Emily Karras brought joy to the world, and funny thing, she seemed to like water. She would set 34 age group records here in Maine. By the time she was 12, she was ranked first nationally in the 200-yard freestyle, and her butterfly was the all-time American best. At Cape Elizabeth, she swam on 3 state championship teams, captained 2, and set 5 Maine high school records as she earned All-American status. At Cornell, more of the same. She became a team captain, set 4 school records, and became a member of the Cornell 400 Club, achieving a 4.0 average while competing in a varsity sport. Also at Cornell, she met Charlie Snyder, and they would marry in Maine in 2014, and 5 years later welcome Olivia and Caroline into the world. She was using her degree in nutrition and working as a registered dietitian, trying to incorporate healthier food into the lives of people in New York. On September 17, 2020, the heart of this magnificent 33-year-old daughter, wife, mother, and athlete simply stopped, and we are left to lament and wonder if we can truly honor this magnificent Mainer, Emily Karras Snyder.
Thank you to the Maine Sports Hall of Fame for honoring Emily in this fashion. Since we lost Emily 2 years ago, it has been our goal as a family to keep her visible at all times and into the future, and in particular to keep her visible for her twin 3-year-old daughters, Olivia and Caroline. This honor will go a long way in helping us achieve our goal of keeping her visible. I'm accepting this honor today on behalf of Emily and our entire family, 23 of whom are here today, ranging in age from 2 to 100 years old. I'd like to introduce 3 people in particular: Sally Karras, Emily's mother and my wife; Scott Karras, Emily's brother and an outstanding Maine athlete in his own right; and Charlie Snyder, Emily's husband, who is here from Washington, D.C. We are grateful that Emily entered the world of competitive sports in this great state of Maine, where she had the greatest of coaches and teammates. Thank you, and congratulations to all today.
Claire Egan, come forward. I ran track at Eastern Kentucky, so I know a little bit about the loneliness of long-distance running. It makes me appreciate the greatness of Claire Egan, who, with talent, hard work, and discipline, became America's best in the sport of biathlon. She is a multiple-time national champion and a 2-time Olympian. She is also an advocate for clean competitions and is admired by those in her sport for her work on it, on and off the course.
Claire Egan demonstrated her athletic ability early, winning a state championship in Nordic skiing and twice making the New England Junior National Team. A top student, she went on to Wellesley College, where she was the Blues' first All-American in cross-country. She founded the Wellesley Nordic Ski Club and was her school's first participant in the NCAA championships. With a year of eligibility remaining, she did graduate work at UNH, where she skied and ran before joining the Craftsbury Green Racing Project. Within 2 years of her first biathlon, she made the U.S. national team. She would compete on the World Cup Tour for 6 seasons and is one of only a few Americans to win a World Cup medal. She competed in the Olympic Games in Pyeongchang and Beijing. Respected by her peers, Claire was elected chair of the IBU's Athletes Committee and remains an outspoken advocate for clean competitions. Claire Egan's career represents the best of the best in sport, and we welcome her to the Maine Sports Hall of Fame.
Thank you so much. Thank you to the Maine Sports Hall of Fame. It is, of course, a great honor to be here today, to be inducted into the Maine Sports Hall of Fame, especially so to share in this year's induction with Emily Karras Snyder, who was my teammate and a good one at Cape Elizabeth High School on the cross-country running team for a few seasons. Someone recently asked me how growing up in Maine had impacted my athletic career, and it was a very easy question to answer. I grew up in a town where we have one statue, and it's of an athlete. It's of a female athlete, and it's of an Olympic gold medalist. Of course, I'm talking about Cape Elizabeth's statue of Joan Benoit Samuelson, and what a gift that was to me. What a gift it remains to all of the children of this state to know without a shred of doubt that a kid from Maine can be an Olympian. But you can't do it alone. And for me, today's ceremony is an opportunity to honor you, not to honor me. This is about honoring my Maine community that has supported me for 25 years as I've gone from representing my school to my town, my state, my region, and eventually my country. I had a great team around me. Some of my high school teammates are even here today, and I can say that Teammates are a really special thing. They're not quite a sibling, but definitely not just a friend. There's sort of a battle buddy, comrade aspect in there as well. And my high school teammates, my Maine teammates, you are my best teammates. You're my teammates for life, and I know I can rely on you for anything. My Maine teammates were not the only thing from Maine that was really exceptional. I remember my parents would say to me in high school, you do not know how lucky you are to have Devin Morrill and Zach Stegman and Dave Weatherby coaching you. And I have had countless coaches at every level from around the world, and my best coaches are sitting here today, and they're from Maine. So my parents were right about that. They were also right about a lot of things. I think everyone here knows how difficult it is to be a good sport parent. And I can tell you from my teammates, I've seen it all. And it's difficult to, on the one hand, support your child enough, and on the other hand, to not overpressure them. And my parents, Tom and Hillary, who are here, should be very proud that they struck that balance almost perfectly. My partner, Eric, is here. Eric was one of the first people I met in biathlon, and certainly the most valuable thing I got out of it. So thank you. He's been through a lot. For the last 8 years, I've been on the road for about 8 months of the year, including for 5 months at a time for the last 2 winters, which were impacted by COVID. So I'm looking forward to spending more time together now that I've retired. Finally, really this whole community, those of you who have supported me, who have shared in the thrills of my victories and the agonies of my defeats. One of my mom's friends who's retired and was looking ahead to the winter, maybe it was last year, sort of in the sunset of my career, said, "Tell Claire she can't retire. We have nothing else to do." And I want to say that it has been a privilege and a joy to entertain you for these 25 years. And I thank you so much for all that you've given to me to make it possible. I could not have done it without you. Thank you.
Claire's kind of been on hold for a few years. She was voted in, a few years ago, and we're waiting to get her here after her retirement. So we're delighted that that's finally come to be. Michael DeVito. It's fun to think of people like Bill Belichick, Mike Tomlin, and Jack Del Rio studying film of the next inductee and trying to scheme against him. In doing so, they were taking on one of the most powerful defensive linemen in the NFL. In Mike DeVito, we honor a man who is as real and as humble as he is powerful. He puts the same level of effort into being a husband, father, and community member that he did into his NFL football career, and that is saying a lot. Mike DeVito is arguably UMaine's greatest defensive lineman, a big part of Maine's black hole defense. He was named Best Defensive Lineman twice, Walt Abbott Defensive Player of the Year, All-Atlantic 10 twice, co-captain, and National Strength and Conditioning Association All-American. He signed with the New York Jets, beginning a 9-year NFL career in which he was never off the active roster and never released. His Jet teams went to the playoffs in '09, beating Cincinnati and San Diego before falling to Peyton Manning and the Colts in the AFC Championship game. In 2010, they beat Manning and the Colts, Brady and the Patriots before losing to Ben Roethlisberger and the Steelers, although Michael got a sack for a safety in that AFC Championship game. He then signed with the Chiefs, which won their first 9, but stumbled and lost an opening round wildcard game. After missing 2014 with an Achilles, Michael battled back for 2015. They won their last 10, beat the Texans in the opening round of the playoffs before falling to the Pats. Offered another contract by the Chiefs, Michael and wife Jessie decided to return home to Hamden, where they're raising Rocco, Sal, and Louie, where they're also greatly involved in their community while Michael works on his PhD. We're glad they're here and proud to welcome Michael DeVito to the Maine Sports Hall of Fame.
People assure me that I'm just unphotogenic, but I'm starting to think that's my real face. So. Whew, you just can't find a good picture, no matter where you go. Maine Sports Hall of Fame Board, Bill, thank you guys so much. This is an incredible honor. Bill, I don't know how much you had to pay to get me in here, but I am incredibly thankful to my hero, and I don't use that word lightly, my wife, Jessie. I was debating about coming up here and just talking the 5 minutes about you, because I could, but I'm going to pause that because I didn't warn you about it. My three boys, Rocco, Sal, and Louie, they are not here today, but I love them so much. I've set them up for success. Have you ever heard of anybody get picked on named Rocco or Sal or Louie? My grandfather, Ralph Consiglio, who passed away in 2003, I wouldn't have played football or been the man I am without him. To my mom, Mac, Nana, my brother, my father, I love you guys. Thank you. Again, I've had so much support. Fellow inductees, it is an honor to be up here with you all. Christy, it is a friggin' honor to be up here with you. Yeah, really, let's get Christy up. Normally, the football thing sort of sets me apart, but not today. This is an incredible crew. So, just real quickly, when you reflect on something like this and what I wanted to talk about today, you know, this is an award that represents the, my entire career, and so you start thinking back at, the 18 years I had playing football, and what I quickly realized was I deserve little to no credit for being here right now. At every important junction throughout my career, high school, college, the NFL, I had family, my wife, my kids, teammates, coaches, to put me in the spot for success at each point. And God knows where I'd be without them. And so I am incredibly humbled for just the line of people that have supported me my entire career. The Bible says where there are a multitude of counselors, there is success, and that is really true in my life. This is probably going to be the last, I've been retired for 6 years now, this will probably be the last award I get for football, and I couldn't think of a better award to get, an award from the state of Maine. I am incredibly grateful for this community, to raise my family here, for the people in this room. We are very blessed to be here. In 2010, I was playing with the Jets, and that year, for whatever reason, we had 10, 11, 12 guys in the NFL from the University of Maine. And Rex Ryan, our head coach at the time, stopped me in the hallway, and he said, "Mike, how come every time we play a team that has a guy from Maine on it, he's the toughest guy on the roster?" And it's because we're built a little bit different up here, as this group witnesses and attests to. We're a little bit tougher, a little bit stronger, humbler, hardworking, and I am very lucky and very proud to be able to raise my family in this community. Thank you all so much.
Number 12, Ryan Flaherty, please join me. While we can definitely list everyone who's in the Hall of Fame, we can't always cross-check some of our historical records as accurately as we'd like. So we're not certain. We believe we have one existing parent-child membership in the Hall. That's prior to today. So it is, for the second time, the honor of a child and parent, both in the Maine Sports Hall of Fame, is now today. So we are inducting Ryan Flaherty, and who has truly lived a sporting life. And although he has earned Maine Sports Hall of Fame status, he continues to build his own remarkable legacy. Let's take a look.
The son of Debbie and Maine Sports Hall of Famer Ed Flaherty, Ryan played 3 sports during high school, leading his teams to state championships in football and baseball. His Nova American Legion baseball team won the national championship in 2004. He went on to Vanderbilt, where he played shortstop for 4 seasons. He was named a freshman All-American and later All-South and second team All-American. He was drafted in the first round by the Chicago Cubs and would go on to play 9 Major League seasons, mostly with the Orioles. There are hundreds of highlights. He played every position except catcher. He was the first Mainer to hit a postseason home run. On May 10, 2012, he, J.J. Hardy, and Nick Markakis hit back-to-back-to-back home runs. Ryan and Nick would hit home runs in the regular world as well, marrying sisters Ashley and Christina Dutko. Ryan and Ashley have 3 children. Ryan was named Advanced Scout and Development Coach for the Padres, and earlier this year, when manager Bob Melvin got COVID, Ryan was called on to manage the Padres for 10 games. Although Ryan continues to write his story, we are proud to pause and welcome Ryan Flaherty to the Maine Sports Hall of Fame.
Thanks to Bill and the entire Maine Sports Hall of Fame, as well as congrats to the fellow inductees of this year's class. I think it's very unique. You know, we have all 4 seasons represented here, and you don't get that in all other parts of the country. From snowboarding to baseball, we represent it all here in Maine. I'd like to take the time to thank my group of people over here on the right. First, Mom and Dad. You know, Dad, I think he's Coach Flaherty to a lot of you guys. To me, he's just my dad. And he was my first coach I had, and someone who introduced me to this game that I love. My mom, she was the house rule keeper in the house, and we had many battles growing up, but my personality traits probably much more represent her in my older age now. Gina Scott, my sister Gina, she's a year older than me. I spent much of my life trying to keep up with her. She was faster, stronger, and she kind of led me the way there. My Aunt Karen, Jean, Janet, cousin Connor, thanks for always getting up early from the Sunday dinner table to go put the ball in the tee and never complaining and let me drive you guys crazy. My best friend Ryan, his dad Ricky, a crazy story is I was held back in the 8th grade for you guys who don't know that, and Ryan was a grade below me. He was the shortstop and quarterback of the class underneath me, and the second I was held back, he wasn't the shortstop and the quarterback anymore. But he remained my friend through it all, so I'm glad you're here. One person I'd especially like to thank who isn't here with us is my grandfather. He watched me play more games as an amateur than any person here. He was at every event I had, and I know he's watching down on us. And last but not least, my wife, Ashley. I met her in this crazy journey of baseball through my brother-in-law, and she's the rock. She takes the family back and forth to Maine, to Florida, to San Diego, and she makes sure our kids see it all, and thank you for everything. As far as the state of Maine, there isn't anyone that's more proud to be here than me. I think it's given me a chip on my shoulder being from here. Wherever I am in the country, I think, people always ask where I'm from, and I tell them Maine, and they kind of look at you with one eye, sideways, that a baseball player could be from Maine. And I take that internally and I say, okay, look I'm going to show you, So I'm very proud to be here. This community and this state, really supports its local sports stars and local teams, and I'm very proud to be here. I'll say in closing this, I get asked all the time what I miss most about playing. And you think about it, and when you think back on it, the thing you miss most is really, you know, the hours you spent practicing as a kid, the snow days I spent with my dad at USM, American Legion, high school football. And you realize that that's truly the dream in all this. So if you're a young kid, you know, enjoy where you are, enjoy the journey, because you actually are living the dream. Thanks to everyone.
I want to remind you all that the application for our class of 2023 is now open. That period is now open. If you know of a worthy candidate, please take the time to fill out an application, which can be found on our website, everybody together, MSHOF.com. Got to do this right. Remember that life is short, and we do not have much time to gladden the hearts of those who make the journey with us. So be swift to love and make haste to be kind. And we hope that you'll continue to support the Maine Sports Hall of Fame, and we hope to see you at our 47th awards ceremony a year from now. Congratulations to our new inductees and welcome, and thank you all for coming. Have a great afternoon.